and founder of Manifesting Miracle Makers, rounded up her LinkedIn family once again. First, we've got Brian Smart, Mr. Content and Dadpreneur. He's striking the perfect balance between raising his youngest daughter and creating masterful content. Next, meet Denise Annalise Spiller, the gig expert and relentless traveler and writer. She turns every gig into an adventure. Then there's Jay Pasquale, the storytelling strategist, a poet and voiceover artist. He's weaving tales that'll make you think, laugh, and maybe even change your perspective. Get ready for a show filled with wisdom, inspiration, and the magic of family. Let's welcome Cassandra Terry and the rest of the fam.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Cassandra Terry Morning Show, Transformation Tuesday, otherwise known as Brian Day. So welcome to Brian Day, everybody. Did you know, Brian? Did you know? Did you know it was Brian Day? Let's see, we are here, and as you guys can tell, we are already all smiles and ready to go. There's Ollie. Ollie says, hi, Cassandra, Jay, and Brian. Glad to be back. Yay, Cassandra and fam. Your presence has been missed, Ollie. It is always great to have you and your positivity and your wisdom, your mastery of words with us, because we always know you're going to drop something that's inspiring, and we are so happy to have you here. It's Transformation Tuesday. It's the beginning of the week for us. It's the first time of the week that we come together. And, you know, it's always, I felt like I hadn't seen Jay in a minute. So we had to have a little, hey, how are you? So it is always good to be with the fam. It's always good for us to have the opportunity to come together and to share with you. Conchita says, greetings on this terrific Tuesday, another amazing day. What did let's see if I can. Ollie says, mashed potato territory for Mama Cass Terry. You guys have to, if you haven't been Ollied, you have not really seen the English language stretched and morphed and used in some really genius ways. So we never know what we're going to get, but very terrific indeed. He loves to play with language and words, and he can work in our names and things in a way that I've never seen anybody else do. So welcome back, Ollie. He says Robbie Ollie. That sounds like a tasty dish. It's too early to start doing food puns, Ollie, because I haven't had breakfast yet. So there's my mom. She says, good morning, fam. The folks are finding us. So welcome. We are glad that you guys are all here. I think something happened with one of my feeds right as I was coming up. So I'm not sure. I don't think I'm connected everywhere, but we'll see. We will see. Let's start with the quote, just to bring you guys into Transformation Tuesday and the types of things that we talk about on that day. Today's quote is from Tony Robbins, and he said, it is in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. Tony Robbins. I think most people know who he is. You've seen him on all sorts of stages and filling stadiums and inspiring people and doing his thing. But and this is one of the quotes that I really, really like by him. It's in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. What does that mean when you really ponder it? The first thing that comes to mind for me is I've got some control here, because I actually get to decide the decision on my decisions, right? I get to make decisions all day long. I just have to be aware of the fact that I'm making them. and that in making them, there's repercussions. And when I think when most people hear consequences or repercussions, they think of something negative. That doesn't necessarily have to be the case. It's just the result of the choice that you made, right? So we're making decisions, and based on those decisions, things happen, right? And when those things are happening, we make another decision in response to those, and we have this decision chain that's going on all day long. And the majority of the time, we're making those decisions, and our brains on autopilot. We're just kind of going through the motions, doing the things that we do, and not putting much thought into those choices and the importance of those choices. And that's why we have this particular day. We have this day because it's really important for us to understand that our transformation is not a single act. It's not a single victory. It's not a single result that we're going to get to. It's choices day in and day out that's either moving us towards the life that we desire or not. And so when we tap in to those choices that we're making, when we're aware that we're at a decision point and we need to decide, there's forks in the road all day long, millions of forks in a month, and we're making a choice to go left, right, or try to mow our way right down the middle. And those choices take us somewhere. They compound. Oh, I need to sneeze so bad. Excuse me. Thank you. Whew. That one, I felt it coming. I felt it coming.
Bless you.
No matter how hard I tried, it was going to make its way here.
Bless you. Bless you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So choices, we are making them all day long, and those choices compound and they create our future. They create our experiences in the present. They move us either towards our destiny or not. And so when we want to truly transform, we have to begin with the mind. What are we focused on? What mindset are we showing up with? Because in doing that, we start to take control and become aware and make the decisions that are going to lead us where we actually want to go. I don't want to live a nice long life and look around at the end of it and wonder how did I get here, right? I want to be more intentional than that. I want to accomplish particular things. And in order for me to do that, there's a renewing, a transformation, a changing within my mindset that was required, and that is continually being challenged. I have opportunities every single day to get frustrated, to feel sorry for myself, to get down in the dumps, to quit something that's giving me that's difficult to accomplish. I have those choices every day, just like everybody else, and we have to decide what we're going to do in those moments. And those decisions are what shape our destiny, right? We talked about in another room that I was in yesterday, we were talking about, or at least I was talking about success and failure, and that having a good relationship with failure is so important because most of us think of failure as a negative, but it's actually just an information point. It's an opportunity for us to learn, gather new information, integrate that into how we're doing whatever it was we were doing, and then you go at it again more informed, more aware than you were before this quote unquote failure. So failure is not the opposite of success. Quitting, giving up, throwing in the towel, that's the opposite of success. Because until that point, you're still on your success journey. Failure is a part of that journey. And when we learn that and we make peace with that and we see failure for what it really is, we create the opportunity to really learn and accelerate our growth and our path towards our destiny or success, the completion of a goal, whatever the case may be. When you have a good relationship with failure, you have already did a major transformation within your mind, because the world doesn't teach us that. It teaches us that failure is bad. Push it away, don't think about it, get away from that as quickly as possible. And when you do that, you leave all of that learning behind. You leave the opportunity, the gifting in that experience gets lost. So you want to take a look at it, spend some time with it, figure out what it is that that situation is teaching you so that you're able to move forward more aware, more informed, more capable than you were before. So, failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of the success cycle, it's a part of the process. It will keep you moving forward. Got quite a few comments coming in. Let's see. Let me move back. There's my mom saying good morning. Ollie says decisions for shaping destiny. Decision, incision, precision, repercussion. Exactly. I love that. Right. I love that. Decision, incision, precision, repercussion. Very well said. Very well said. That could be a whole room all by itself. But decisions, sometimes we have to make we make the decision that an incision, you have to, when I think of an incision, I think about a cut, right? You're making a choice, but you have to do it with precision, right? It could be as simple as cutting my hair, right? I want to trim the ends so that it stays healthy and it keeps growing. But if I'm not paying attention, I'm distracted. I end up chopping off too much and now I've got a crazy cut. Precision is important. When you are making a decision with precision, the only way that you can be precise is to be focused, is to be tapped in, is to really be paying attention and careful about how you're moving forward. So that precision is important. And depending upon how precise you are in your decision making, that has everything to do with the actual repercussions that you experience. Do you get the nice cut that you want, or or not? Did you mess up your do? Now your hairline's all jacked, and you have to wait for it to grow out and start over. There's a repercussion for not only for the decision that you make, but about how you make that decision. Being precise is important because that requires you to really tap in, to turn on your brain, to pay attention, to really be a part of the process. Love that, Ali. Conchita says once the decision is made and action applied, no turning back. You have to live with the outcome and make it work. Yeah, because now you're in a new place based on that decision and the results of that decision. And now, from this place, you're more informed, you've had a bit of a journey, more experience because of where you've come to where you are, and now you assess, did this happen the way I wanted it to? Did I get the result that I was after, or do I need to make another adjustment? Was there some additional failure in there that I could learn from and readjust? And then you make the next decision, you apply it, and instead of turning back, do the same thing all over again. Assess where you are. Is this good? Do I need to take a left, take a right? Is there a detour? What do I need to do different? We're constantly assessing, applying the learning, and taking the next step. But a lot of times we're not aware of that that's what's going on. And we're just going through the motions. We're missing that assessment piece and we're taking steps, taking steps, taking steps. And we look up around us and wonder, how in the world did I get here? What's going on? This is not where I intended to go, right? Tap in, become aware, allow the renewing and the transformation within the brain, within your mind, within your mindset to help you stay aware, stay conscious, stay tapped in so that you're not going through life on autopilot. See, Ali says, and it seems each day with have consciously, unconsciously thousands of choices to make. We do. We are making choices all day, every day. And most of the time we do those on autopilot. And that's where the danger is because without that precision, we could end up anywhere with any repercussion. But when we realize that we're making all of those decisions, just think about, for us, it's early in the US. It's only 7:30 in the morning. I've decided to wake up and get out of bed. I decided last night what time that was going to be. I decided what I was going to wear. I decided, I've made a bunch of decisions. Was I going to drink the lemonade or was I going to have water? Was I going to take the meds that settle my stomach or am I going to tough it out? I've made those decisions already, right? I've made them already. Slight headache. Am I still going to push through the day, or am I going to, stay in and call it a day today? We're making decisions all day long, and every one of those decisions has a repercussion, right? When this is over, I will still be making decisions. Okay, I've completed the first big task of the day, of my everyday. How am I feeling? What am I doing? Am I going to drive into the office? Am I going to work remotely? What am I going to do? Why am I going to do it? What's the best decision? And not just a decision, but the right decision for this point in time. That's why the assessment is important. And it doesn't take a long time. You can run through quickly in your mind without even uttering a word. You can run through your decision making process really quickly. It sounds like when we're focused on it, that, Lord, how do you ever get anything done? You're constantly assessing. So are you. I'm just asking you to be aware of it so that you are cognizant of the decisions that you're making, because that will help you make decisions that's going to get you where you want to go. We are processing all the time, and processing requires decisions, because you're going to get to a point where you which way do I go? What do I do next? That's a decision making point. We're just so accustomed to doing them all the time without the brain being really tapped in, that it sounds a little ominous to have to do it the other way. But if you really want to transform, if you really want to take control of your life and how it unfolds as best as possible, become aware of those decisions and tap into them. Let's see. More comments. Let's see. Oh, Conchita says, God bless you. Cassandra. Ollie says, oh, this is not Cassandra. You have already made the good choice, always with a smile. He said, failure is the predecessor of success. Fail first, attempt, and learn. So fail is the first attempt in learning. That's just a nice little acronym for fail. First attempt in learning. He also says, unlearn what they made you falsely learn and relearn from the right positive source. Absolutely. Part of the learning cycle is figuring out patterns and things that don't work for you. When you have patterns in your life that don't work, the best thing you can do for yourself is to disrupt that pattern. Just do one thing different. You've disrupted the pattern and you've given yourself the opportunity to have a different outcome. But being aware of the learning that doesn't serve us is so important. I used an example a long time ago, because all the learning that we had may have been in a particular situation, it may have been good, but as you've grown, it may not serve you in your current role. An example is the way I grew up. Children absolutely didn't talk back, and they really weren't allowed to ask questions. If you were given an instruction, you were expected to carry out that instruction, no questions asked. The asking of questions was seen as disrespect. I personally don't agree with that, because I want my kids to be able to process and make good decisions without my voice, without my presence. And so in order for them to do that, they need to understand the decision-making process. So when they ask questions as simple as why, which all kids do, and have, why do kids ask why? Because when they're little, they are taking everything in, and they're learning and they're learning and they're learning. And the more they ask why, the more things make sense to them, the more they understand. They're seeking knowledge. They're looking to understand. So why in kids drives adults crazy, but answering those whys is how your child will actually learn how to make good decisions on their own. So when they ask, you explain it to them and then let them go on their way. There may be a kid like me that's got 15 questions. They're going to keep coming because I'm really trying to figure things out. But questioning in and of itself is not disrespect. It may be how the question's asked. It may be the situation. But as a kid, that's how we grew up. You didn't ask questions. You just did what mama said, did what daddy said, did what whatever, authority figure told you to do. That was the way of, that's just the time we grew up in. So I grew up with an extreme respect for authority figures, which I still think is a good thing, But when I became when I got the jobs that I've gotten in at IBM, I'm not paid to say yes. I'm not paid just to do what I'm told. I'm paid to take a look at those requests, process those requests, and give them the positives and the negatives so we can make a good decision as a corporation, right? Me being a yes person to my manager would be in his disservice and mine, right? I have to challenge him. I have to bring my expertise, which he hired me for. I have to bring that into every conversation. So when he's asking for something or he's planning a direction, I need to say, oh, but if we're going to do that, think about this. Here's some possible pitfalls if we take that. That was very difficult for me because it's so counterintuitive to the way that I grew up. I grew up, if an authority figure tells you to do something, you figure out how to get it done and how to do it to the best of your ability. As I was growing up, that wasn't a bad thing. But now, as an adult in a position that requires me to think and to question, it was very hard. That was a transformation that I had to do. And I had to get to the point to where I saw the other way as a disservice, as me not doing my job well. Didn't want that, but I had to frame it in a way to where I could see what was going on. And I was like, oh, I'm conditioned, right? I am conditioned to say yes and to get the job done to the best of my ability. Part of getting the job done to the best of my ability is not an automatic yes, it's doing that processing so that the right decision can be made. So, an easy example of how what served you at one point may no longer serve you in your where you are today, right? So just think about that. It serves me at times. You won't ever see me bucking up to the police. You won't see me, you know, yelling at somebody in a position of authority and all of that. A person of great entitlement and think things should just go my way because I am who I am. I was raised better than that. That's not me. That's not the way I was put together. There's going to be a level of respect that's going to come into the encounter. But now as an adult, I can also see when my boundaries are being crossed, when someone's overusing or abusing their power, when I'm being mistreated in a way just because I'm not the person in authority. As a young person, didn't do any good to doing that type of processing. We just had to do what we were told. Now, no, I'm processing. I'm checking you just like you're checking me, and we're going to decide if this relationship is healthy, right? Am I in a good position? Those are decisions as a little person or processing as a little person I wasn't able to do. I wasn't mature enough to make that processing, and I wasn't supposed to. I was supposed to do what I was told. So now undoing that thinking and maturing my thinking and bringing that into a different environment, it was a challenge, but it was a challenge that needed to be had so that I could do a better job. I could evolve, I could transform into the person that I am today. I'm no longer a little kid under the authority of their parents that has people with their best interest in mind. So 99% of the time, what they tell you to do is for your greater good, right? So yes, you're supposed to do what you're told. They're telling you, they're training you, they're teaching you, they're showing you the things that are going to help you. Every authority figure that I encounter may not have that same plan for me. But if I just blindly follow any instruction from anyone that's in a position of power, I could end up in trouble, right? Everybody doesn't have my best interest at heart. So I had to learn to process differently and even process who the request was coming from first. That's the first thing. Where is it coming from? What is their intention? But when you're just on autopilot and you're just doing what you're told, you can miss those cues and not do that assessment and blindly end up in difficult situations. Hey, Sonia, welcome, welcome, welcome. Always good to have you with us. I hope you're feeling great on this Tuesday morning. Conchita says, great example, Cassandra, of how we are to maintain that humility while still injecting our authentic selves. Exactly, exactly. And in that injection of our authentic selves, we have boundaries. As we grow, as we evolve, as we mature, we start to learn what those are how to protect those, that keeps us in a place of safety, regardless of where those requests are coming from. Kids don't have that. They typically don't know. They just do what they've been told to do if that's what they've been taught. These new kids, not so much. My grandkids ask lots of questions, and I absolutely love it. I love it because I see that as an opportunity for me to teach them the thinking process and how to make good decisions and not just depend on my presence. Because the last thing you want is, as soon as you turn your back, your kids doing any and everything because they don't have the understanding behind why you're trying to get them on a certain path. So taking the time to really explain and help them understand is super important. And if you're an employer, same thing. Your staff needs to understand what it is you're trying to accomplish, where it is you're going, so that you all are on the same page. And when they're making decisions on your behalf, they're making decisions that align with what it is that you are trying to accomplish. It's the same thing, exact same thing. So, Jay, you're looking nice and pensive there. I'd love to hear what you'd like to share with us today.
Absolutely. Cassandra, I like what you were saying, especially, about getting ready. And, there was a time when I really worried about my hair. Um,
Is that what happened to it?
yeah, I was like, I'm
You worried it
getting,
away.
yeah, I ain't got time to be worried about it no more. I need to do what I got to do. Um, so, um, but it's that pruning thing we were talking about. But,
Yeah.
but the message from Tony Robbins, right? It's those pivotal moments in your life where you go, okay, Lord, I'm gonna need to figure something out here
Mm-hmm.
because things need to change. And there was a moment in my time in my life where there was that time I said, Lord, I need to figure a way. I need to figure a way. And we all have those moments, right? It's those storms. Well, mine was a literal one, right? Yeah,
Right.
I tell the tornado story all the time. And that really was a pivotal moment in my life. And I had to stand there looking at my kids, but ultimately myself, right? My kids and my wife. What do I need to do? And then I had to really think about it and look at what I had to do. And it didn't take me long because it was right in front of me. It was my kids and my wife. I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't just sit and boo-hoo and cry. I had to pick myself up and be transformed in my faith. And so I'm going to read a scripture here, like I always do. And it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be from Luke chapter 8, verse 1 through 3. Soon afterward, he went on through cities and villages, proclaiming and bringing the good news of the kingdom of God. And the 12 were with him, and also some women who had been healed of evil spirits and infirmities. Mary, called Magdalene, from whom 7 demons had gone out, and Joanna, the wife of Chuza, Herod's household manager, and Susanna, and many others who provided for them out of their means. The one thing that stands out, and this is something that you really have to look at and then understand the history. So Mary Magdalene, right? She had 7 demons, and Jesus healed her.
Mm-hmm.
And we later hear in the Bible that she is one of the first to discover the tomb being empty. So you see, she went from being afflicted by demons, right, to following Jesus and helping him. Because if you look at some of the women that follow Jesus, right, the last line in that Bible verse says, who provided for them out of their means. So that means the ladies, the women who followed Jesus, and the ones who really listened to him and were even healed by him were helping his ministry.
Mm-hmm.
So she went from being afflicted by demons, right, to being a follower of Jesus Christ, to witnessing the greatest miracle ever. This is the power of transformation in faith, going from something that's going to if you let it be your adversary, literal adversary for her for life, or you could choose faith and be transformed. That's her story. And it was so transformative. God let her be a witness to the greatest miracle there ever was. And this is what, if we are believers, right? If we are believers, this is what's awaiting you in your faith to take you from an affliction to a follower to witnessing the greatest miracle in your life. And that's what happened with me. I stood in my faith to be able to witness one of the greatest miracles in my life, to going from losing everything to gaining greater faith, to gaining a greater perspective. And if we just let that pass us by, right, not making that decision to have that faith, then we will lose out on the
Mm-hmm.
miracle that could be right in front of us.
Yep.
You just have to make the decision. That's it. Back to you, Cassandra.
As you were thinking, I kept hearing, what profits a man who gains the whole world
Hmm.
but loses his soul? You lost your world as you knew it, but instead of it being a true loss, it was a gain. It was your opportunity to see your faith in action. As that restoration happened and the things you started to come out on the other side, that had to be faith fulfilling. Like, you really didn't leave me. You were really there with me. You really got me through this. That's a different perspective from the person who says, why me? Why did you allow this to happen to me, and get angry? It happened, it can happen to any of us. So if you find yourself in that situation where you're angry, don't get more angry, more overwhelmed by feeling condemned for that. Just realize that you're human, but you can look at this thing a different way. You're still here. Your family's still here. Are you in a valley situation and that you have to find your way out of to get back to that sunlight, to get back to that mountaintop experience? Absolutely. But you're still able to climb. There's a positive in our most negative situations if we decide to look for it. And it doesn't mean you pretend like, I'm so happy this tornado happened. Can't wait for the next one. No. We would like to not ever have another disaster like that in your life. But we're also grateful by the example of what this particular one not only taught you, but allowed you to share with many. Perspective, the renewing of your mind, the transformation of your mind. When that happens, everything else follows. It can't help but follow, right? That's why we say garbage in, garbage out in the IT industry. That focus, what you're paying attention to, what your inputs are, what you're taking in, has a huge bearing on how you're going to process difficulties. If all you have, if you don't have anything to lean on, if you don't have anything that you believe in, how are you going to get through? I don't know. But we, in those difficult times, digging deep, finding our faith, holding on to our faith, believing that the sun's going to come out regardless of how dark the sky is in that moment. That belief will keep you moving forward. If you don't believe, all you see is dark sky. It's overwhelming. It's frightening. It's all those things. But when you can just see a peak of sunlight because you know that the new day is coming, it helps you to get through those trying times so much better. Who do you talk to? Who's your support system? Where have you placed your faith? Do you have a higher power? Or do you take it all on yourself? Those are the questions that'd be great if you answered before the next storm. Because when those answers come as default and they help you move through instead of you grasping, trying to find something. When you're a person of faith, that faith shows up for you and helps you through whatever it is that you're going through. It's not something you need to manufacture in that moment. It's just hanging out. It's there. It's a part of you. And when it's necessary, it takes over. When you can't think, when you can't process, when you're having one of those difficult times, it takes over and it moves you forward. So I would encourage you. I would highly encourage you. Talk to somebody about this thing. What are they talking about? What are they talking about? What's this crazy story Jay talking about? A woman with 7 demons. What? Y'all sound crazy. We do. We got crazy faith. And we are unapologetic about it because I'm able to smile through a headache, through exhaustion, through whatever is happening in my life because I know that that's a moment. That's just a footnote in the grand scheme, in the real book that's being written, The Life of Cassandra. I don't know all the chapters. I can look back at what's happened previously up to this point. I don't know a second from this moment what's going to be written, but I know in faith that it's all going to work out for my good, that I am A-okay. And that helps when I don't feel okay to know deep down that I'm okay anyway. It helps to keep you moving forward. It has you grounded in something that's bigger than you. So thanks for sharing your story again, Jay. Leah says, Amen, Jay. Conchita says, Preach, Jay. From infliction to follower to faith to a miracle. I love that. Ollie says, having a faith to faith conversation with yourself and God, not face to face, faith to faith. Love it. Leah said, we need deep in our faith so we can be the example for others. Absolutely. Conchita J, another viewpoint is all that you thought you would miss has created a mission. Great viewpoint. Great viewpoint. And then Ollie says, Jay and the 7 demons. Cassandra Medusa. Just kidding. Hey, is that a knock on my locks? Are you Medusa and me because of these beautiful locks, Ollie? I think I've played Medusa before. Or yeah. I can Medusa it up if I have to. All right, Brian, you have been patiently waiting. Please share what it is you'd like to at this point.
You two, you guys. And I mean, you and Ollie right now.
Uh-oh, your audio is really low right now, Brian.
Oh, okay. Hold on. How about
Okay.
now?
Perfect.
I forgot I had my headset on. I'm mimicking Jay over here. Speaking of Jay, have you ever heard of the Dave Chappelle show? Has anybody watched the Dave Chappelle show? I used to be a
Mhm.
huge Dave Chappelle fan, right? When
Mhm.
Jay was giving his story and he said, uh, in your life, all I kept hearing was in your face when Dave Chappelle said that on one of his skits. And then I started thinking about what Mike Tyson said about getting punched in the face. Everybody's
Mm,
got a plan till they get punched in the face, and what do you do next? Right?
right.
That's where failure, that's what failure is. Life punches you in the face all the time. You failing like all the time. And it's transformative, right? Depending on your perspective. So when you see failure as faith, then
Mm-hmm.
you realize that that's God's way of nudging you to help you break up, like you were saying earlier, those processes that don't serve you when you
Mm-hmm.
unable to break them yourself. Sometimes you can recognize those things that you're doing that I need to stop that. But other times they are so uh intertwined in your everyday life that they go unnoticed and you just keep doing them. That's
Mm-hmm.
how failure happens. That's failure. Because if you keep doing that, it's gonna cause a rift somewhere else. That's God saying, hey, let me help you out of this, depending on your perspective. Now, just because that seed is planted doesn't necessarily mean that success or change, positive change anyway, is what's going to come from it. There's always the alternative. But nature is amazing in that it ties in this law of attraction. God is amazing the way he uses nature because he ties in this law of attraction with this failure. So depending on what you've been doing up to that point when failure strikes, that's going to determine not only your perspective, but the things that come to help you along the way of your perspective. You're not just going to wake up today and have this grandoso perspective. Oh yeah, life is great. And for the last 15 years, you've been thinking negatively and you expect all this good stuff to come your way. No, that's not how nature works. That's not how God designed it, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a level of compounding interest, compounding energy that you have to ensue. Cheryl White, she was the first female black jockey.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe she said when she first started jockeying, like they kept looking at her like she was crazy. Like, what are you doing here? But she said she believed if she just kept showing up, right? They'd have to give her a spot because they're getting tired of seeing her, right?
Warm down.
That's that faith. And her perspective allowed her to see what everyone else would have seen as forget it. I'm not going back in there. I'm not doing that. She saw it in a different way. She saw it as they're gonna have to give me a shot. Not they ignoring me, not that I mean nothing. Nah, I'm fantastic just the way I am. And this is coming for me to help build me up. So when you think about uh how you see life and how you address those moments of failure, one, start building up that habit of being thankful, right? It's not even Thursday yet, and we're talking about thankfulness. Start start building up that habit of gratitude. And when the situation arises, don't just immediately run back into cover, right? Stand there with your chest out and know you've been practicing this for a long time. I'm ready for you. What you got? Let's do it. And you'll come out victorious. Win or lose, you're victorious.
Love it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Win or lose, you are victorious. Because there's different definitions of what the real victory is. And sometimes we're so micro focused on a thing that we forget the bigger picture. Let's see. Leah said, oh, Ollie said, ha ha ha, no, you are too irresistible. Rock and roll today. I was just kidding, Ollie. I know you love the main. And at least I do. I do. I don't think there's anything that people can say about my hair that would be offensive because I love it so much. I can't help but to touch it and spend time with it every single day. Imagine if you felt that way about yourself. There is nothing that anybody could say that's really gonna pierce me because I love and appreciate myself that much. Can you look in the mirror and say that in sincerity? I hope the answer is yes. Because when you get to that point in your life, you have created this internal dialogue. You've created a peace and an environment with yourself that is what it needs to be so that you're not waiting for the external trappings to make you feel good. You're not waiting for the cheer of the crowd to know that you're okay. You don't need to to manipulate folks into compliments so that you get that little oomph for the day. You wake up with it, right? I sent a picture to my sister a couple of days ago because I was babysitting the grandson, and he's not quite 2 yet. And he trying to put the terrible in terrible too. He is so full of energy, and he's all boy, super, super aggressive. Fight, fight. And we're trying to say, no, we don't fight. We hug, we love. Fight, fight. He's just ready to go. And he and I were sitting down on the floor playing. And before I knew it, he had 2 hands full of hair. And I couldn't move. He's not even 2, but he's strong, just like his mom. And I am trying to unwind these little fingers from my hair so that I didn't hurt my neck, so that I didn't accidentally hurt him. And I'm literally over back, and he's behind me, and he's got me in his grips. And I took a picture. We take pictures of everything, right? But I wanted my daughter to see. I was having a good time with this kid, but 2, he's crazy. He goes into attack mode. It's like that little Tasmanian devil cartoon. He has that level that he goes to. And he was there, and he was laughing, and he was having a good time. He didn't know that it could be painful. That wasn't his intention. He was just having fun the way he knew how to have fun. So I grabbed my camera and I take this picture, and Ollie, if you could have seen this hair, it was in every kind of position possible. And my sister called me 2 days later, and she was like, girl, I am still laughing at your hair. I'm still laughing at how he had you in that basically headlock. So so it just reminded me of that. So sorry for the tangent. But what I'm really saying is, internally, you have to know that you know that you know that you're enough, right? That you're loved. Not necessarily loved, love. You are love. And when you are loved, that's what you exude. And when you exude love, there's that law of attraction Brian was just talking about. That's what you receive. If you go through this world feeling as if you're not enough, feeling as if you are undeserving, unfortunately, you are going to attract people who are going to prey on that belief. It's the law of attraction. You will attract people who will reinforce that belief. Have you guys ever wondered, this is way off topic, but not really. Predators, people who prey on the weak. First of all, they have to see the weakness. A predator, 90% of the time, is not going to attack somebody that they see as a real adversary, somebody that can stand up to them. A bully. Bullies never fight the big guy. They take the lunch money from the little guy, right? So they start by perceiving a weakness, looking for that soft spot. And when they can find that and they can manipulate that, they can get you under their spell, whatever spell it is that they're trying to cast. So coming from a point of view like that, doesn't that highlight for you how important it is how you feel about yourself? How important it is that you instill those positive emotions in your little people? They don't have to necessarily be your children. They're all of our children. Any child that passes my way, if there's something I can do to protect them, to make them smile, to make sure they're okay, I want to do that. So anybody that you see that's in a weakened state, they need some form of protection first, and then they need a process to build strength where they're weak. Because it's great that they've come across you, but there's also the opposite of you out there looking for somebody that they can prey upon. This mindset stuff, this transformation, it's so much bigger than we typically think about. It can be the difference between whether or not you're the one that's preyed upon or not, whether or not your child is the one that the predator comes after or not. The predator is not going to come after the loudmouth kid. The predator is not going to come after the kid that's walking with confidence. They're coming after the kid that's meek and mild and doesn't seem to belong, doesn't seem to be connected, because they can isolate that kid. They can get that kid to themselves and say whatever it is they need to say to frighten them enough that they can do whatever it is that they've got planned. Take this mindset thing that seriously, not only for yourself, but for the people that you interact with. When you find somebody that's down and out, do your best to lift them up. When you have a kid in your life and they're going through those awkward phases, remind them of just how special they are. You don't have to be at the cool kids table. You are the cool kid, and you create your own table, and you invite other people to that table that need a safe place to sit. Talk to your kids about those things. We shy away from a lot of that stuff because it's so uncomfortable. But when we grab hold and we are the voice that's playing in their heads versus all that negativity that they pick up from social media, from TV, from the bullies, we can combat that thing. We really can. I told y'all the story about my daughter one time when she was little. For whatever reason, this kid, well, because she was going to be tall, she had the biggest feet. As a little person, her feet just, every year, her feet were her shoe size was the size of the grade that she was in. They just kept getting bigger and bigger. And eventually she had that growth spurt to make those feet make sense. But I know in my family, we just say stuff and we jab and poke. And I knew it was only a matter of time before somebody said something about her feet. So I used to tell her all the time, I used to talk about her feet all the time, telling her how smart God was. Because if he'd made them any shorter, she'd tip over. That he had to make the feet to balance out the height so that she didn't fall over. And I would just say that to her, just in passing, in conversations, when we weren't talking about anything in particular. If I had a chance to put it in there, I would. And we were home one weekend when she was a little person, and my brother was like, "Oh my God, girl, your feet are so big." She was like, "I know, so I won't tip over." And she just kept playing and went on. We have that much control over how our little people can think about themselves if we just tap in and we see those opportunities to build them up where somebody inadvertently or on purpose may bring them down. But in order for you to do that, you've got to be aware. You have to transform your mind so that you're good with yourself. When you're good with you, you can see the good in others. When you're struggling with yourself, struggle is everywhere. So this transformation thing is not a game. It is the difference between living a life that's fulfilling and not. In your moments of decision, that's where your destiny is shaped. So what decisions are you making? I have a little bonus for you guys. So if y'all have a pen or something to write on, something to type into, I haven't done an acrostic in a while, but I decided to do one last night about how do we go about transformation? What are the things that we need in order to transform? So for the T is tenacity, holding on when things get tough, driving forward, even when, not even when, especially when you feel like giving up. Tenacity. Resilience, bouncing back from setbacks, learning from each fall, and never losing sight of your goal. Even from the ground, when you trip and fall, if you can look up and see your goal, see your destination, that is going to help you bounce back up and keep moving forward. Keep the goal front of mind. Awareness, being conscious of your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors and how they influence your transformation journey. If those thoughts are starting to creep in that are doubting you, that are negative, that are holding you back, instead of fighting them, be aware that they're there and start to reframe them. Combat them with positive responses so that they find their way out of your psyche. Get rid of them. Make the decision to transform your thinking, and your feelings will transform because of that new thinking. And when your feelings change, your behaviors will change. New beginnings, embracing fresh starts and new opportunities as path to significant growth. New beginnings, transitions, those are typically phases where as humans, we kind of fall apart. We regress a little bit. We are no longer, at the top of your game because you're in a new position. So you're doubting yourself. But where you really are is in a position of new learning, of growth, of evolution. So see it as that. And then the things that you don't know won't have such a difficult effect on you. You can actually embrace them, understanding that you're in that learning, growing process. Self discovery, unearthing and understanding your deepest desires, fears, and potential. The more you get to know about you, the better decision making that you're able to do. You make better decisions because you're clear about what works for you and what doesn't, where you're trying to go, where you'd rather skip. When you have those things front of mind, it makes a yes so much easier and a no so much more meaningful. It's based in something. And that way, with every little thing that comes along doesn't get your attention. Just because something sounds like a great idea doesn't mean it's the great idea for you. So you have to understand what it is that you really want and focus your energy into that and into getting to that. And then the F, flexibility, adapting to change dynamically, altering paths when necessary to align better with your ultimate goals. Detours are going to happen, roadblocks are going to happen, life is going to keep lifing. But in order to be successful, in order to create the life that you desire, you have to be able to bend and flex according to the new information that's coming in, according to the stop sign that used to not be there. All of a sudden, now I have to stop at this intersection. I used to be able to bowl through. Well, if you bowl through now, you're likely to be in an accident. Pay attention. See the signs as they're changing. Be flexible and work with them. All right. And then there is openness, being open to new ideas, new challenges, and new perspectives that can catalyze your transformation. It's those new things. It's the disrupting of patterns. It's doing something today that you weren't willing to do yesterday that allows for a transformation. It allows you to change. If you're doing the same thing all the time, you're going to get the same results all the time. Nothing's going to change. So if you truly want to transform, this openness to newness in many, many forms is so important. Realization, coming to terms with who you are and who you wish to become, and making real what was only once imagined. Making real what was only once imagined is going from dreaming to implementing, going from planning and thinking about it to actually doing it, getting things from your to-do list to your to-done list, moving things along, putting energy behind the plans that you have for yourself. So you have to be really clear about who you are, where you are right now in this present moment, who you wish to become. Those are your goals. That's what you're trying to architect for your life. And then making a real plan to get from point A to point B, and then actually implementing the plan. That's how you take what was imagined and make it real. And lastly, it is momentum. I love this word. Building speed and strength in your actions, using the energy of small wins to propel you towards larger success. That compounding that you talk about, Leah. One little win, the next little win, the next little win. By the time you get to the end of the month, you've created this momentum. You're in this period where you're getting stuff done, you're winning, and that is propelling you forward towards the larger goal. But break it down into those little bitty steps that you're taking every single day to move you towards where you want to go, and allow that momentum to build. And before you know it, it's propelling you faster than you can imagine towards the life that it is that you want to create. So that's transform. Brian, we'll have to do something with this. Maybe we'll make an infographic or something that we can make available at a later date. But yeah, transform. It's been a while. Y'all know I love acrostics, and so I thought I would share one with you guys. It's been a while. So hopefully that was meaningful and helps you to think about not only what it means to transform, but what are the traits that are important for you to have, and the activities that are important for you to participate in order to actually kick that transformation off. Let's see. My mom said, great show, guys. Mama J is not feeling well this morning. Keep up the great work. All right. We are sending love and light your way, Mother. Leah says, so true. My grandson has a huge head, and we tell him it's because he has a huge brain. Amazing story, Cassandra. Absolutely. That brain of yours needs space, right? You're so smart. You are so full of ideas. You're going to change the world. And that head we needed a head to capture that brain. Brilliant. Brilliant. Because people are just so accustomed to noticing anything that's a little different than them. And then they want to point it out and make a conversation about it. And when they're kids, sometimes they can be absolutely brutal. And so you arm your children. You arm them with the good feelings about themselves. You Teflon them before you send them out. How do you do that? You praise them. You tell them that they're loved. You tell them about the things that they're good at. We tell them about the things that they're doing wrong because we're trying to adjust that behavior. But you need to tell them 3 times as much, 10 times as much, the things about them that are positive, the things that they do right, the things that you love about them, how you see them changing the world, how you see them being successful. Speak life over these children. Build them up, because every day you send them out into a world that's designed to tear them down. And if you don't coat them in Teflon, if you don't give them the strength that they can develop that inner fortitude to know that they're great in and of themselves, they don't have to do anything but just be, and they're loved and they're special and they're great right there. If you do that, they will have hard days because life is going to life, but they will also be resilient and develop the internal fortitude to be able to handle that stuff, and eventually it won't even affect them. It'll slide right off. That's the beauty of Teflon. Slides right off. So that is it for today, guys. Brian, Jay looks like he's frozen and has been for a bit, so I'm not sure if he's still with us. But anything else you want to cover before we shut it down? Maybe I've lost them both.
Can you hear me?
There you are. Yes, I can
Yeah,
hear
we
you.
can hear you.
All right.
He's back. Did we mention the sword challenge starts next Monday?
We did not.
Let's mention it. We should
All
mention
right.
that. That's an exciting deal. The sword
That's an
challenge.
exciting deal.
Everybody's been waiting for that. I've been waiting for that. Sword is actually here. Let's talk about that. I
So
can't do it
here's
the way
the
you
book.
can. I can get all excited, but I can't tell
So
you how to
here's
get
the
ready.
book. Here's the book, y'all. My beautiful baby that I love so much was born on the 25th of last month. So not quite a month old, but my baby has taken flight and it is available to you all. Soar Beyond Limits, Unleashing the Power Within. It's available on Amazon. And SOAR is a framework. Most of you guys that are here have heard me talk about SOAR before. SOAR, strengths, identifying your strengths, overcoming limits, achieving goals, and then the R is for resilience, building a resilient mindset. That's what the SOAR framework, it will teach you to do. It will create, it's the book is full of exercises and reflections to help you build and move along your SOAR journey so that you're building up those strengths within yourself. The challenge that Brian is talking about is designed to pick that framework apart. Each day, we're going to be dealing with the different aspects of SOAR through conversation, group exercises, reflections to give you a deeper learning of what each of the portions, the components of SOAR are all about, and how you can personalize them and integrate them into your life. SOAR in it general means a lot. But when you take it and go, here's where I am, here's what's going on with me, I'm good on my strengths. I'm very clear about what my strengths are, but I'm not sure that I can really do it. Okay, so we need to focus on the O with you. We've got limits that we need to overcome so that you can get to the goal setting and you can build that resilience. So we personalize it based on where you are in your journey. And we're going to take 4 days, Monday through Thursday of next week, from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Central. And we're going to dig deep into SOAR and give you the opportunity to do that reflection and do exercises that will give you the clarity that you need to not only understand where you are, but to build a plan to overcome whatever it is that you're dealing with and to continue to move you along that SOAR journey until you've mastered all of those components. Because in mastering those components, you're mastering your mindset, You're mastering your discipline. You're mastering your actions. You are doing the things necessary to create the life that you desire. So the challenge will be for 4 days, hour and a half each day, digging into the components of SOAR. And when you walk away, you'll have workbooks and exercises, and you will have at least began to build your plan as to where you are, where you want to go, and the steps necessary for you to get there. So it's scrolling at the bottom, thevoicewithinwins.com/SOAR challenge. We are inviting you all in. Follow that link and sign up for the SOAR challenge and meet us online. You'll get the link when you sign up as to how to participate. And we will dig in Monday evening, 6 p.m. The SOAR challenge is on. And at the end of it, you will be much more poised to soar. You will understand what SOAR means for you. What SOAR is for me is not what SOAR is for Brian or for Jay or for you. That's why the challenge is important, allowing you to personalize it and create the journey that's just right for you and where you are in your life right now. So that's the challenge. Thevoicewithinwins.com/SOAR challenge. You guys go ahead and complete the registration, and we'll see you there. I am super excited. I saw another comment come in, I think. Mohammed, hello, Mohammed. Transformation, elevate yourself, inspire others, and embrace opportunities. Rise above limitations, serving as a beacon of motivation for those around you. Seize the potential in every situation, molding your life into a masterpiece. Prioritize self improvement, embracing a journey of personal growth. Persevere in the face of challenges, keeping your aspirations in sight and remaining mindful of your path. Take deliberate steps to assess your progress. Challenge your energy towards what. That's as far as I can see, Muhammad. The rest of your comment is cut off, so you'd have to split it into two for me to see the rest of it. But well thought out share from Muhammad. Thank you very much. Brian, I think I heard you say something.
Yeah, let's also mention this goodie you have coming to your community for everyone that purchased the SOAR book, for everyone that signed up for the VBP. Let's talk about this micro class, this micro email class that you're giving out today. Don't forget about that.
I'm glad you're thinking, because I definitely had forgotten about that.
And for everybody that didn't get the SOAR book, don't forget to mention the accompanying ebook.
Yes, there is an ebook. There's no charge for the ebook. It lays out at a high level what the SOAR framework. So it gives you the opportunity to learn about SOAR as well as the 4 Ps, and begin to slowly take that journey towards implementing SOAR into your life. So anybody that's interested in receiving the ebook, Brian, tell them how to get it.
So it's just thevoicewithinwins.com/SOAR ebook. And there's a micro challenge, micro lesson that accompanies. It's a 4-day micro email class that accompanies the ebook
Yep.
for
So
anybody that's interested in soaring. Like I like to
yes.
soar. I don't know about everybody else.
So each day you'll get an email. When he says micro class, what he means is for those 4 days, you'll get an email that will have an actual activity in it associated with SOAR, so that you can start on your own, to develop some of those skills and build those things into your repertoire. So if you're not ready to commit to the book, you're not ready to commit to the challenge, this email will allow you to do it on your own pace, on your own, to get a taste of what SOAR is all about. And you get one exercise each day that will start to equip you to make the changes that you need as well to start moving along that SOAR journey. So you can self-pace that one. All right, Brian, you're on a roll. What else did I forget? I'm afraid to not ask at this point.
I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that.
All right, let me get the rest of Muhammad's comment. He says, engage in self exploration, recognizing the subtle signs that guide you towards new horizons. Embrace fresh perspectives and turn your dreams into reality. Radiate positivity, break down barriers, and spreading love wherever you go. Embrace the cycle of growth, continuously evolving and offering inspiration to others. Thank you so much for sharing that well thought out contribution. We appreciate you being here and sharing that with us very much. So we are getting ready to call it a day. We will be back here tomorrow for Wake Up Wednesday, where we talk about the importance of being intentional. And in the meantime, remember, it's the choices that you're making that will determine your destiny. That's my paraphrase of Mr. Tony Robbins' quote that we looked at earlier today. But realize as you go through your day, you are making micro choices all day long, but they culminate and they create an existence and they create a future. So wake up, tap in, transform your thinking so that you are focusing in on all of those choices and making the choices that are going to move you towards the life that you so desire. So with that, thank you guys for being with us. We will see you back here tomorrow.
Thank you for joining us today. Make sure you join us every week, Tuesday through Friday, 7:15 a.m. Central Time for the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. For advertising or sponsorship questions, reach out to Cassandra or any member of the FAM Collective on their LinkedIn profiles. Have a great day, everyone.
Have a great day, everyone. Go out there and register for the challenge, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.